Hey everybody, I hope you're having a great day. I have some squash here, so I'm having a great day. Squash was my mama's favorite vegetable, and I love it too. While we still have fresh veggies, summer is almost gone, and while we still have fresh veggies, we need to be cooking these vegetables. So today I'm going to make a squash casserole, and I'm going to be using a very old recipe. This recipe calls for saltine crackers, and it calls for carnation evaporated milk. Now, how much older can you get than that with a recipe? But it's going to be delicious. So I'm going to take the squash, and I'll go ahead and take them over to the sink and wash them and cut them up. You know how to do that. And then I'll put them in a saucepan, and I will cook them down and mash them. And I'll need 2 cups of cooked squash to go in our squash casserole. And I'm giving you this recipe today, it's Thursday, so that you can have it for the weekend. A lot of times we don't make casseroles during the week. And I know working moms, they probably don't make casseroles during the week, but they love to cook on the weekends so that they'll have something left over for the week, or have something prepared that they can just pop in the oven. So I'm going to get started, and I'll be back in a few minutes when I get the squash cooked and mashed, and we'll put our squash casserole together, put it in the oven, and bake it. I have all of our ingredients together to make our squash casserole, and I have prepped a good many of the items that we're going to be using in it. The first thing that I did was wash and cut up my squash, or slice my squash, put them in a sauce bowl or saucepan, and put them on the stove. I did add like 2 tablespoons of water to get them started, and you can see water in here, so I have drained these, but I started them on medium-low, and what we need is 2 cups of cooked squash. So I have that right here, but I wanted to give you a little tip. After my squash started cooking and began to get a little soft, I took my little chopper and I just chopped the squash up. Those of you who cook squash a good bit, you know sometimes they just kind of tear all to pieces, and that's okay. But I like for mine to kind of stay in somewhat of little chunks that you can actually taste and feel the texture of the squash. So we're starting out with 2 cups of cooked chopped squash. To that, I'm adding 1 onion and 1 stick, which is 1/2 cup of butter. Now, I went ahead and put this on the stove. I chopped my onions and melted my butter, and I sauteed my onions. You do not have to do that. You can just put the onions and the butter, melted butter, right in the dish, in the bowl that you're mixing in, and you can just keep going. But I like to kind of saute mine and give those onions a chance to kind of go ahead and start cooking before we actually put it in the oven. So we're going to begin stirring this. Next, we're adding 2 cups of crushed saltine crackers. Now these crackers, it's about a sleeve of saltine crackers. So I just crushed those. We're going to mix this up just like this. Next, I'm adding 1 cup of carnation evaporated milk. Carnation evaporated milk. This is the milk that comes in the can. A lot of you may have had that when you were a child. My mother used to mix it with water, and we used carnation milk, canned milk, a lot. After we got rid of our milk cow, we had a milk cow, I think her name was Molly, and we always had fresh milk and butter and cream and all that good stuff that comes along with having farm animals. And that was wonderful too. But we also, as the years went by, Mom started using carnation milk. So as I said, this is a really old recipe. So that was 2 cups of crushed saltine crackers. Next, I'm adding 1 1/2 cups of grated cheese. I grated this myself. I like to do that. I prefer to do that. And I'm using the medium cheddar. You could use sharp if you wanted to. You could use mild if you wanted to. Just whatever suits your fancy, or whatever you've got in your refrigerator is the truth of the matter. That's really what I did today. Doug likes medium cheddar, so I try to keep that all the time. And then I have it when I go to bake my dishes. Y'all, this is looking good. It's looking really good. Next, I'm adding some salt and pepper to our casserole. I'm just going to stir this around. This is really easy, and it's going to be so good. I preheated my oven to 350 degrees. I've sprayed my baking dish, my casserole dish, with some no-stick cooking spray, and then I like to take a little brush and brush my casserole dish to make sure that it's evenly spread. So now we're going to transfer our squash casserole into our baking dish. This smells delicious. I don't know why I hadn't thought about getting this recipe out before now, because it's a really old one. And you know, that's what we love. We love the old recipes. So I'm just kind of spreading this out. I'm not packing it, but I'm just kind of spreading it out evenly. Get that off the little dish right there. And there you have it. This is ready to go in the oven. I'm going to bake it. I'll bake it for about 30 minutes. I'll check it, and I'll be back when it gets done. Our squash casserole is done. It's beautiful. It looks delicious. I baked it on 350 for 45 minutes. This is probably the most beautiful squash casserole I have ever made. I'm going to take it out of the oven, let it rest, let it cool before we dip into it. Okay, it's time for the taste test. This squash casserole looks delicious, and remember I told you it's a really old recipe. You're going to want to try this one. It has that delicious carnation evaporated milk in it, has cheese, has good fresh squash, saltine crackers, everything that we love, just basic ingredients. So now let's try it. That is so good. That's delicious. You're going to want to make one of these this weekend. So go ahead and get your squash. You probably have everything else that you need. And thank you for watching today, and I'll see you again really soon.